Stroke is a focal neurological deficit, which is of no other origin but cardiovascular in origin.
Depression is the leading cause of disability. Depression on its own is a persistent feeling of sadness, persistent feeling of hopelessness.
Hello viewers, welcome to this week's episode of Health Watch on Advent Cable Network Nigeria ACNN. I am Angela Emeka Ebibo. In 2019, the world was shut down by a deadly virus, the coronavirus, popularly known as COVID-19. For a whole year, COVID-19 was the most popular word in the world and was responsible for millions of deaths globally. Thankfully, sub-Saharan Africa did not record the extreme number of cases and deaths some public health experts feared would occur. Nigeria, the continent's most populous nation, has reported a little bit above 33,000 cases and just under 750 deaths among its nearly 200 million citizens. After a whole year of being locked up with movement restriction, different nations have drastically reduced their movement restriction, put in due to COVID-19. However, recently we're beginning to hear about a new strain of COVID-19, as well as a slight spike in the number of infections. The question is, what is going on? Should we be worried about this new strain? How effective are the vaccines in handling the new strain they've been talking about? Should we return to the wearing of our mask and taking precautions again? My guest today will be responding to some of these questions. She is Mrs. Chidera Nnam, a public health professional. Good to have you on the program, Chidera.
Thank you. You should say again, you had me in 2020, I think.
Yeah, the last time I had you was in 2020. You're working with the COVID-19 response team?
Yes, I was with the FCTA COVID-19 response team for Abuja. That's for FCT.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were you were seeing the cases firsthand.
I was then the frontline health worker. I was seeing the case firsthand and looking at it, increase rapidly throughout those times. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel now, seeing that it's looking like, everything is not over, but how do you feel now?
To be quite honest, I'm quite relieved that most of the infection rate, or rather the infection rate, has really reduced from time past, because at that time, it was a new era for the world, because we're diving into something we had never experienced before, and I'm glad that it didn't hit us so much in Africa and even Nigeria, where we are like it was stipulated to, or
to have gone really bad.
I've gone really bad, but I can see that God helped us.
Yes, God helped us. And after working with the COVID-19 response team for FCT, you went ahead also to work for the Clinton Health Professional?
No, there's a Clinton Health Access Initiative.
Okay.
So they're an international NGO that deal with, or rather that provide access to healthcare. We work basically with the government to provide access to health, and spanning not just COVID-19, but spanning to malaria, TB, HIV, and other aspects of health. So in this case, I was working on the COVID-19 implementation project in Nigeria. So it was basically to increase access to testing, increase access to testing, and also treatments. Treatments to COVID-19.
So you've been working a lot on COVID-19.
Yeah.
You did a lot. So now let's look at, just like we said in introduction, everybody's kind of relaxed, as if nothing. It just looks as if we never had a time where we're all locked up in our houses and we're doing everything. We're not, we're just locked up in our houses and we're not doing. People were afraid to talk to anybody. We're not shaking hands. We're not hugging because we're afraid of COVID-19. But do we still need to continue this precaution thing? Sometimes you see people wearing nose masks moving, and you're feeling like, COVID is over now. Remove your nose mask. What is it? So do we still need to be careful? What's going on?
So right now in the COVID-19 space, I'll speak for both Nigeria and probably Africa. Worldwide, I think we can basically see that it is no more like it is in 2020. Infection rate has really reduced. Although, yes, there's the news of some spikes, which I think we will later get into. But we should still take precautions. COVID-19 or the coronavirus or the SARS-CoV-2, anyone, is a virus to start with. It means that it must run its lifespan. You know, the way viruses replicate, especially the COVID-19 virus, it's like a million cells, let's just put it like that, a million cells over a short period of time.
Okay.
So the time it would take for just one cell to die.
Oh, right.
And imagine that it has already replicated
so many,
and then has been spread to others. And because of the speed of its infection and the rate of its infection, the frequency, it's really fast. Just with droplets, you can be infected with COVID-19.
So that didn't even reduce, even as we feel like everything has come down. The infection rate hasn't reduced,
the
actually.
The infection rate has not reduced. I would say also because of the variant of the virus. You know, if you check, there was such a time, I think if you look back towards November, December of last year, there was such a spike in the COVID-19 space, such a spike with infections, and that meant that the Omicron virus, I think that was when it really came into Nigeria. A lot of people, you know, got infected with that. So there is always that spike and drop. And that's why we say, oh, this is a third wave, this is a second wave. So those waves are the spike in cases, the spike in infections. And according to the variant, that would that sort of correlates with the rate at which it spreads.
Okay, so the variant depends. The variant you're dealing with will tell you the rate at which it's spreading and the rate of infection.
I think alpha was obviously the first, and then it spread quickly, and also the fatality with alpha was much.
Okay, now let me understand.
Okay,
we have COVID-19, the one that happened to us in May. It made us shut down in April. I think from the month of April.
Yeah, I think March, April.
That's what we said. So we had that one.
We have that one.
So that was the one we were battling. But while we were battling that one, a brother, well,
basically, another one was born
again.
Variant of that one. So it's the same virus, but something in its genetic material was tweaked. So it's evolved. Let's put it that way.
Probably we started finding a solution, so it needed to protect itself.
So it evolved so that it could, harm us more. Yeah, basically. So we had alpha, we had beta, we had Omicron.
So I remember then Omicron was Omicron. In fact, it was like, what is Omicron again? So that's just a variant of
COVID-19.
Just a variant
of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Yes.
So it was the infection rate was higher.
Yes, infection rate, the way it spread was faster.
Okay.
The infection rate higher, but the fatality wasn't as much as that of alpha.
Right. Okay.
I think in March 2020, April, May, that when we were on lockdown, you could hear cases of deaths in Spain, in America. I mean, America was all over the place because they were trying to get a hold of their country. So that's what it is with.
Okay, so right now we have a higher infection, but the fatality, probably that's why they're not telling all of us
that's why they're not doing that. But I'll still say we should still take precaution. COVID-19 is still killing. People are still getting infected. For the fact that you and I are not infected yet doesn't mean that another cannot be infected and die from it, especially those who are immunocompromised, whose immune system is not strong enough to fight the disease, and also people of the elderly people. They are already immunocompromised due to age and not necessarily any confounding disease. So we need to still take care. Where you think you need to put on a mask, do put on a mask.
Especially when there's a lot of crowd. When
you know that the people in the same room with you are not necessarily vaccinated, still wear a mask. Even the people who are vaccinated are still asked to wear masks due to the fact that they might be infected and can pass it on, but they wouldn't necessarily come down with the illness that is associated with the virus. So you still need to wash your hands, proper hygiene. Wash your hands. And also the masks is not just for COVID-19. I mean, I started taking into cognizance that I can spread normal cold and catarrh, common cold and catarrh, just by obviously sneezing and not washing my hands. So when I do wear a mask, I protect the other person. So if you look, it comes from the place of love. I'm protecting another person, so I can wear my mask. Nowadays, it's obviously not mandatory. It's not by force, it's not mandatory, you know. Some institutions still hold the precaution of wearing a mask before it can be attended to. Yes. And some have done away with it because it became cumbersome to keep wearing masks. You know, they always complain of, I'm not able to breathe and things like that. But where you think, now I think it boils down now to human discretion and personal discretion. Where you think you'll be infected, wear a mask. Where you think you are safe, still
take some precautions.
Yes, basically.
Okay, so that I like the way you just put it, because we're not just throwing away precaution. Even outside COVID-19, other ailments too that we, you know, then you come to a room and one person has the common cold, you know, and next thing everybody in that room has got it. It's because we have been, you know, exchanging this. But if you just wore your nose mask to prevent somebody else from getting it, then it's better. So I like that. So the precaution, you use your discretion to do when you go into places. If you're going for a wedding or a big event, it's not a bad idea to put on a nose mask, even if you've taken the fact that you've taken the vaccine does not mean you're free. You could actually be fine, but
you're able to
affecting somebody.
So maybe we should go into the vaccine.
That's what I was going to ask about the vaccine. We've talked about vaccine. It was a big one. The vaccine was, in fact, I think some people till today don't believe. They think the vaccine is one. Thank God, maybe all the conspiracy theories around it has kind of meddled down a bit. But people are really. I know my husband. It took a lot of convincing to get him to take vaccine, and he was like, I don't understand that. So one day suddenly he just wakes up and goes to take the vaccine after much persuasion. So it's amazing that there's so many people that still don't know. So the vaccine. What about the vaccine? Does it keep you? Of course, it talks about the keeping of safe, but how safe is the vaccine itself? Well, I don't know if that's the right question, but let me start from that.
Okay, first of all, let me come from how vaccines work and what vaccines are for.
Okay.
Any woman who has had a child, although it's not called vaccine, there is called immunization.
Yeah.
From the word immunization, you're trying to get the baby or the person to be immune to the diseases out there. So, you know, we have BCG and some other things that are there. So, but vaccines, basically, scientifically, it's basically introducing the inactive version of that virus into your body system so that your body can create antibodies, which are the soldiers of our body. They fight off infections, you know, viruses, parasites, bacteria, whatever it is. So they fight off this. They fight off these things. So our bodies produce these antibodies so that in future, when we do come in contact with the infection, our bodies would recognize and see that I have fought this before, you know, and then produce more antibodies to fight this off. So it's not first hand anymore. It's like, oh, we've seen this, we've gone down this road before, we can fight this and we can win it. So basically it's immunity for your system so that you do not come down with the illness. Your body is protecting itself. So it is a good thing. It's a preventive measure. You know, we always say, oh, prevention is better than cure. Prevention is really better than cure. You spend a lot of money trying to cure. You do not know, you do not know what your body must have gone through because you're not inside. And sometimes the symptoms that we might feel maybe when we have other diseases might not come out to the very later stage until maybe something external, e.g. the COVID-19 comes up. Then you begin to see, oh, I've had high blood pressure, oh, I have a liver disease, I have a kidney disease. And those confounding diseases, they're called comorbidities. They actually influence whether you would get better on time or whether this might be fatal. Yes. So it is best to get the vaccine. It's not a way to infect you with COVID-19. I've heard so many things about it, and I was not too surprised at it, because education is key here. If you have not educated the public on what vaccines are and how it works, you won't be able to get to the masses if you don't educate them. So that education is key.
Very key
for that. Yeah. So it's not unsafe. It's very safe to have the vaccine wherever you can get it. You should. I think the MPHCDA, that's the body in Nigeria that is responsible for vaccines. Yes, that's vaccines. But this COVID-19 vaccines, they have taken it upon themselves to actually push it out into the masses. And if you go to their website, there's actually a place for you to register. You can decide to go to the public space or the private space, wherever is closer to you. Choose the dates. I think they ask you of your name, everything.
Just
few information. I think for people who are also pregnant or not, they still ask you for that, just to be on the safe side. And after the registration, they set a date for you. You're able to go into whatever facility you have chosen.
Even sometimes you can walk into some facilities.
Yeah, you can just walk into some facilities and say, I need, and it's free. You don't need to pay for it. Because I've heard, that
people are beginning
to ask for money. It's free. It's free. It's very free.
So if you go to the right quarters, you shouldn't pay for anything.
You should just get it there and then. So you get I think about 2 doses.
Yes, the first, and they give you the date for the second one. And then they give you the date for the second one, and then. Yeah, I really love the way you explained it about the vaccine and immunity. It's something we have been doing.
Yes.
And we didn't even. I don't know, maybe because there was too many things around it.
There were many things around COVID-19 in the beginning. A lot of, and it was obviously due to how the media carried it.
Yes. Nobody's monitoring you by injecting that into you. It's the same thing that has been. I remember those days, it was like a gun. They used to think the typhoid vaccine, when they want to give it,
and then you have a mark forever.
But now, they've moved further from that, and then it's now injectables and other. So these things are things we have been taking for a long time, and nobody ever is monitoring you with them. So it's just the same thing. I know there's a bit of difference in the technology for COVID, and some of these technologies, we need them. We can't keep being in the dark ages. We must evolve, we must improve.
We must also understand that we are no more in the age of studying for an extensive period of time. We have new technologies available. So it should mean that we will get things done faster. So there was the debate on, all the other vaccines that always came out, it took years. I'm like, we have new technology.
We used to have mainframe computers.
Now we have
a laptop. You can use your phone. You can do a lot of
things. Yes, So with that, things are faster now. We are in a very fast age. I'll put it this way. Things are faster. Things are better. So we should trust in God, who gives the inspiration to the scientists to bring this up, We should trust in the fact that they are doing something correct. They are doing things that are right for us, not to mar us.
So the vaccines, I'm just saying on the vaccines, there are 2 doses. If you take the first one, how important is it to go for the second one? So you're going to hold the thought for me?
Okay.
So how important is the second dose? How to take the first dose?
Sure.
Does it make any difference, or you can just ignore it. All right, viewers, thanks for staying with us. We'll be right back.
You can't deceive God. None of us can deceive God.
Nobody can actually become a leader if God has not ordained it.
What is the right knowledge? The right knowledge is scripture.
Yes, sir.
Because the Bible is light years ahead of science.
But I usually will ask God, how do I explain this thing in a way that people will understand? The Spirit of God can anoint you to teach, can anoint you to preach, can anoint you
For business.
can anoint you in politics.
The scripture speaking. Psalm chapter 107 verse 20. He sent forth his word and healed them and delivered them from every of their destruction. We are trusting the Lord that as we discuss his word this day, God will deliver us from every form of ignorance, every form of destruction, and grant us grace to walk even in the path of wisdom in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Now streaming, now analyzing, now assessing, now discussing, now sharing your thoughts on everything and every issue that affects you. ACNN's Now Streaming discusses the issues trending and the matters that matter to us all. Join us every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. on ACNN as we go in depth into every issue that impacts our lives, our communities, and our country.
No matter how many bishops come to attend the synod or any service in the diocese,
Yes, my Lord.
only the bishop can carry his pastoral staff, his cruzier. All other bishops cannot come with their cruzier or their pastoral staff.
Monday, Thursday, Jesus Christ instituted the Holy Communion, the Last Supper with the disciples, and said we should do it in remembrance of him.
The church has come to bring it to your notice that this man that you see putting on a mitre into the service is coming in as an holy, dignified, and the authority of the church.
A bishop in the Anglican Church, like the Roman Catholic Church, is a monarch. A monarch must have a throne, and he has to be enthroned. That's the reason why there's an enthronement service, and the bishop's throne is there in the church.
Comes to Holy Eucharist, he said we should do this continually in remembrance of him.
I can't fight for God. It's one of the uniqueness of Christianity. We don't fight for our God.
Exclusive Personality is a program designed to educate, inform, and transform members of the public through the experiences of notable personalities who have distinguished themselves in this life through hard work, diligence, and the grace of God. It is also a program designed to treat some topical issues concerning faith, ideologies, and the state of affairs in the polity.
Welcome back, viewers. Before we went on the break, we were discussing COVID-19. What next? My guest is still Mrs. Chidera Nam. She's a public health professional. And of course, we've talked about so many things that we're involved in. You've been so involved in COVID-19.
It's very,
it's very exciting.
It's exciting.
And they started with a volunteer, and now you are
you're
dead too much. All right, so we're talking about the booster dose for vaccine.
Yeah.
After you're taking the first one, how important is the second one? Can you take the first one and you're fine, or do you need to do the second one?
Okay. You do need to take the second dose and a booster even.
Okay.
So when you take a first dose of vaccine, you know your body would create those antibodies I talked about earlier, and sometimes it wanes off. The vaccine wanes off.
Okay.
So you need, or the immunity rather that it brings wanes off. So you need a second dose. let me put it this way. You know how, I don't know if we did titration in your secondary school.
Yes, I did.
So there's sort of levels when you stack up things, it's stronger. When you stack up the same type of maybe blocks, it's stronger. So basically that's what happens. You stack the first dose, or you put the first dose, you stack the second dose. It's basically like putting walls upon walls upon walls, so that if this wanes, the next dose can still carry your body. If that one wanes, the booster still carries your body, like that. I don't know. It also happens too with the hepatitis B virus vaccine. If you have to take a first dose, wait about 3 months before you take the second dose, and then wait, I think about 2 months again, and then take the booster.
All right, so it's not COVID is not the first vaccine you're taking.
COVID is not the first vaccine to take a booster for.
Oh, okay.
I've taken the hepatitis B virus vaccine. I took mine, dependent on which of the brands you're using. Some will tell you take after 1 month you can take the next one. Some tell you to wait 3 months. So dependent. So it is the technology that was used to formulate that they would advise on when next to have the next dose. So it's not just COVID that has that.
So that's important to note, because some people think, oh, it's only COVID. How come it's only this vaccine that you take the first one, take the second one? While the one I took before, if I take once, it is over. It's not it's not just COVID.
It's not.
We have
COVID.
hepatitis.
Hepatitis B virus vaccine too. Does that. You basically, it's just stacking immunity. Let's put it that way. Putting a lot of walls so that you don't get maybe seriously ill through
or fatality.
Fatality.
Okay, so it's important to get the second dose and also
very important.
A booster.
It's important.
Yeah,
and then dependent on the dose you have taken or the brand of the vaccine you have taken, it is always advisable to take one that is also stronger as the booster. I think either CDC or WHO, not so sure now, advises that you take either the Pfizer or the Moderna as a booster. Yeah, because I think it's stronger than AstraZeneca and so if you have had AstraZeneca, it is advised that you can take Pfizer or Moderna as the booster. Yes.
So, but whichever the case, when you go to your vaccine center, they should know.
They should be able to guide you on what to do.
To go about it. So I'm glad to hear that. So it's not this is not the first vaccine that is doing it. The other vaccines that have been doing it, and sometimes I think vaccines they have a lifespan. I think 8 years or 10. After 10 years,
because you still need to
go back and take
things like that. So there are also tests. I think I'll keep going back to the hepatitis B virus.
Okay, no, it's fine.
There are tests that you can do to know the level you are still immune to that virus. It's called, I think it's called the hepatitis B virus titer. I was trying to talk about that. So it's just to know the level at which you are. That's to show you that indeed the immunity that these vaccines confer wanes sometimes. So it means that you need a booster. You will need a booster at one point in time.
Especially when you look at your body as a complex organ.
It is.
That you don't just treat it anyhow. It knows what it's doing at every particular time. If you've introduced something into it, you know at a point in time the reserve will be coming down. There's so many other things you can allude to with regards to this thing, but that's a good one. So the vaccine, go for your second dose and also go for a booster. It helps, especially if you want to travel. Some countries will not let you come into their country.
Some countries won't let you.
If you've not taken the booster. So that's the COVID-19. So we've talked about the recent spike in the cases. Should we be afraid of what is coming up? Because nobody's really talking about it. I'm sure this program, some people are, why are they even talking about COVID-19 today? But what we're just trying to drive at is to let you know that it's not just all, keep everything and go away and just be doing anyhow you want to do. But should we be afraid with all these new variants that are coming up? Should we be, should people in their houses become worried, or we should leave it to the experts to worry about?
The Lord hasn't given us spirit of fear, but to be bold, love, sound mind.
Yeah.
So the sound mind, we need to be of sound mind even at the times where you've sensed fear. There are spikes, truly. Even in Nigeria,
yeah,
we recorded 247 new cases across 5 states: Lagos, FCT, Kano. I'm not too sure of the remaining 2, but I know those 3. Yes, we've recorded altogether 247. So it's not just Nigeria. In England, in France, there are spikes of these cases now, and it's still the Omicron virus, but with a tweak.
Okay.
It's the Omicron virus, but basically like a variant of the Omicron virus. Basically, that is what is in circulation now in the countries that have been affected. Although I can't say for sure for Nigeria, because we still need to do genome sequencing to be sure that this is the Omicron. Yes. And big ups to the NCGC, because they are doing a good job. They are doing a good job at protecting us, and lots of projects and lots of funds going to, genomic sequencing, and also even implementing. Yes.
Or you have to send it somewhere to get it done.
No, we actually do that here. Yes, but it's not in many places.
Of course,
yes. It's not in many places, but we do it here. And that's how we know what particular variant we're fighting with, or we have basically in the country. But it's been reported in France and England that it is that variant that it's circulating. I would say we shouldn't be afraid. The same way we tackled the other variants before this, it worked.
Okay.
So we should do the same things, but maybe a bit more, because we have not sufficiently exposed what this variant carries and what it is like. We don't know what the fatality, whether it's too fatal, whether it's too, whether it is not fatal at all. It's still coming. So a lot of studies and a lot of experiments will still be going on this for us to be sure of what we are dealing with. So what I would say is we shouldn't be afraid. Like we said in the beginning, personal discretion.
Yeah.
Where you are exposed, wear a mask and
do
proper hygiene. Yes, exactly. Proper hygiene. But it's not it's not like a new wave has come into Nigeria. But we see it coming, and it's best that we are proactive instead of reactive.
So as it's coming in, it's good to be cautious of what is going on.
It's good to be cautious, get vaccinated.
And even if you don't think, if you believe that you can never, get any of the infections, but for the sake of other infections as well. We're hearing monkeypox now. We're hearing hepatitis B is actually another bad one that's been there, but somehow it's coming up. We're hearing other things coming up. Probably we have returned to, most ailments kind of subsided during the COVID-19 lockdown. You're not seeing catarrh, you don't really get it. I think because people were not really interacting so much, which means somehow we are the ones that feed each other, get each other infected.
Exactly.
In that. So we have lots of it coming up. So it's good to also maintain those hygienes.
Yes.
And it's also important, you're advised to also take your vaccine, because we don't know what
we don't know what's, but at least I know that the vaccines would protect you from getting seriously ill. It is best that you are prevented than you fall ill and, God forbid, at the end it is fatal.
It is fatal, yeah.
Meanwhile, you could have prevented it by getting vaccinated.
So the watchword then is this: go and get vaccinated.
Get your vaccine.
Get your vaccine. Vaccine is not from hellfire. In fact,
it's
a wisdom from God.
Exactly.
When I went through the technology that was used, I was amazed at how such wisdom came about, you know. When on this program, we'll not start talking about the whole assembly, the messenger radio, all that. But it's amazing how they were. I think that technology can make it easier to get even other vaccines. Because I hear there's been work on other vaccines as well for other terminal ailments using the same technology. Just to add that it's not a technology. I can't even say it's a technology that came from the devil. I can never accept that. I know I don't have the whole authority to say that, but I think, you know, these are things that keep evolving, you know, over time. We'll have other ailments. We might see breakthrough, maybe malaria, or using the same technology, and then we'll move on to that. So, as we're wrapping up, what do you think the world has learned from this? Because I remember how 2020 was. I couldn't even see the future. I couldn't see today. You know, I couldn't see the possibility of people coming out again, and I was thinking maybe the other 3 years will be locked up. You know, you come out once in a while, everybody's running away from everybody. You go to church, you can't greet, you can't hug, everybody's covered, looking like spirits people. but it's amazing that now everybody. What do you think we have learned from this?
I think what the world has learned is not to underestimate any disease. We need to put in our effort into health, our health systems, our healthcare sector in the whole. And when we say health, I'm not just talking about clinical or medical, talking about both environmental, social, psychological, all round, because health is all round. We dealt with a lot as Nigerians. We dealt with a lot with COVID-19. It's basically exposed that we did not have a functioning healthcare system. I know that God helped us. If not, we would have been recording deaths. But God helped us, and we were able to start up molecular laboratories all over Nigeria, which helped to screen for COVID and start the track and tracing and also the contact tracing and to stay away from
the isolation. Training.
Yes, we had to start training
on the spot.
Yeah, we had to start training on the spot. People who had never had expertise in molecular biology had it at a go start and they started working on it because we were in a crisis. So what we learned as Nigeria is that our healthcare system needs to be strengthened. We need to have more laboratory networks. We need to strengthen not just our clinical laboratories, but even our public health laboratories, because they are the ones responsible for following up with diseases that come up. That's where the epidemiological unit comes in. Following up, looking at where this disease is started from, where is this going to, So we learned that, and also that we need to all step up personally. Even we need to step up personally. We need to look after each other. You imagine what it meant that you were away from a lot of your friends, a lot of your family, especially those who were frontline healthcare workers. People were stuck in the hospital, couldn't see their family members, and COVID, that lockdown basically made us understand that we need each other. We need to care for each other. We need to be there for each other, because at the times where things where people were falling ill, we needed to just be there. And I'm talking from experience also, because my dad suffered it, and it was a very trying time, because I wasn't scared. I was putting up a front in front of everyone, but deep down I was like, this could be it. Am I really ready? No. And I wasn't ready to lose my dad. I don't think so. So, you know, I had to 7, even if I was a frontline healthcare worker, I had to isolate, basically. I stayed away. I was like, what is work when someone is at home dying? But altogether, I say we learned to care for each other. We learned that a disease can actually disrupt a whole economy. It can change the way the world works. I mean, we also even learned that we could work from home, and we could still get things done. So nowadays, even some companies are doing a hybrid work. You go to the office sometimes, you stay at home.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes, but you still get things, done. Yes, that's true. There is also still that time for rest. Somehow, I also felt that God wanted us to just rest
a bit. And then I like what you just said to the government. Maybe you should give me a few words to the government.
The government
of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Regards, because yes, it exposed us to.
It exposed us, and not just us, other African countries. In fact, Nigeria did well compared to some African countries. Yeah, we know. Like, I don't think I need to mention countries here, so it's not like I'm biased. But I know there are some countries that suffered more than Nigeria did, and because of COVID, it also helped them. So COVID did bad and good.
Good, yeah.
It helped us to realize that we needed to, be strong. We needed to focus on our healthcare sector. It had been neglected for a really long time, but now we're seeing that we need it because things are coming up. Infections are coming, viruses are coming up here and there. Monkeypox, I've heard of it before. It's been around.
Yeah, it's been around.
But all of a sudden, it's
a serious problem.
It's a serious problem now. And what if we didn't have COVID? We wouldn't have been able to combat it the way we are fighting it
so
right
people
now.
are responding faster now.
The response is faster.
It's faster
because
now,
we know what to do now when an epidemic is upon us. We know what to do when a fatal virus is upon us. We know what to do. God forbid, if Ebola should come back, we would know what to do.
Okay, yes.
As quickly as possible, we will know where to fight it because there is an emergency response team that is available at all times, an emergency operation
which we never had before.
We didn't have it before.
Even if they were there, I don't think it was
No, we
functioning.
didn't have it before. It was until COVID that the Public Health Emergency Operations Center was opened, and that is how we're able to deal with cases. We had people calling in. I even had an experience. Someone called. There is somebody in my compound that is coughing. And that's how we're able to get into there.
Pick them up. And
I did good and bad though.
Yeah.
But we have really learned a lot from COVID though.
So, and the good thing is that so many parts of science that didn't exist or we didn't take seriously actually came to the fore.
Exactly.
Now, because research was
gone.
It was almost nothing. But
in Nigeria, it was gone.
Yes.
But now I see everyone is going into research. And it's funny, I wish I did do molecular biology because I remember that I told my dad I wanted to go into it. And he said, no, it's not in Nigeria right now. And I said...
But it has come.
It has come.
It has come.
God.
That's an area of, career, people who are looking at to,
so
take a dive
it's
into.
a good thing now because when you go... young ones who are going into the university can take up molecular biology now, knowing that it is very much needed as of now.
Yeah, even and ongoing because we're going to keep having these things coming. You're going to be analyzing genes. You're going to be analyzing things that are coming up and trying to understand, make sense of what is going on. And that's beautiful. So you see, at the end of the day, I'm just saying this for those that still think there's people that seriously think there's a devilish undertone to this whole thing. But to those that say, sometimes the world can be going in a particular way and we just need a little twitch to get us to start thinking differently and start functioning different. I mean, I know before there are websites and apps that were just dormant, that were not working. But during the COVID, many of them, popped up and became very popular. And then people are now thinking employment is increasing. I hope our country can take a cue from that, to know that things are evolving and getting better. But the bottom line is, somehow I just feel God used this season that season to wake
a lot of things that were dormant, that were left dormant.
So whatever you believe, whether you believe there's a meet somewhere or not meet somewhere, at the end of the day, we're looking at the positive side of it. There are more research going on. People are beginning to, in fact, there's a career that's been created, especially in this part of the world where we don't take it seriously, and I like that. So thank you so much for coming on the program. I know that I have learned so much. Okay. I know that those that are watching have learned so much. And the last time we came, you were Miss Chidera Isaka. Now you're Mrs. Chidera. So we celebrate you and congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
On your wedding. And so we look forward to more and seeing you more, to come and talk to us on other things. There are other topics we want to deal with, especially around the virus area. So thank you so much for coming on the program. And it's good to see you again. It's good to have this conversation with you again. I wish you well in the career you're taking with trying to help us stay well, stay well and alive, and whatever information coming out there, let us know. Let's pass to our viewers so that they can also take precaution. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, for the past couple of minutes, we've been discussing COVID-19. What next? Whatever way you view it, I want you to know that there's a hand of God in things that happen in the world. And now we have learned so much, and we know that we need to take precaution. Precaution is number one. COVID-19 is just over for you to just do whatever you want to do. Take your precaution. Take your vaccine. Make research. Find out what is going on so that you know what to do to stay safe and be alive for your family. Thank you for joining us on the program today. My guests have been Mrs. Chidera Nnam. She's a public health professional. And my name is Angela Emeka Ebibo. I'll see you next time. God bless you.